Hi everyone, it's Cal. I put up the tree last night and I thought, oh, because I had to fix a few things on it. And I'm kind of in the process of doing that. But while I have it at this stage with just the lights on, I wanted to talk to you about the human body, the galaxy, and the universe, because they are all moving in the exact same way, as above, so below. And this tree at this stage with just the lights on it is a perfect opportunity to explain to you the view that when you hit massive enlightenment, which is enlightenment is when you connect to the web of lights, the stars in the sky, okay, because you get your vibration so aligned and so heightened, and you connect back to the maker, which is the masculine. And this tree represents the feminine and the masculine. So the fir tree we can see as the feminine force, and the lights on it are the masculine force. And the lights on it all spiral around the central column. And we can see the central column as being the black hole, or a black hole, because there are many black holes, and all the stars spiral around black holes, the ones you see and many that you don't see as well. It gets complicated down the line, but the basic structure is like a fir tree, but then turn it upside down, okay? So that the expansion is humongous around the central force, which is the black hole. And as it comes down, as the stars spiral down deeper into the body of the woman, they become less and few. And it would be an inverted pine tree. But the interesting thing is that it forms a ladder, and as we are climbing this ladder to expand ourselves, we form the exact same tree moving upward. So it would look, like an hourglass, like a tree inverted and then a tree like this, the regular way. Now, the green part of the tree represents the mother. She is the one that controls the web. And the web is everything you see and everything you don't see. So let's just imagine the lights turned out here. You would not see, in darkness, you would not see the formation of this tree. You would not see any of the arms or the central column. You wouldn't see the branches, but you would see the lights. And that's what we see when we look up from the planet. Now, the planet within the solar system is all moving together, and our energy is moving through the solar system, but it's all moving together through another body, which is moving through another body. And when you have massive transcendence, you know this. It is a knowing, because you connect to the web, and the web is focused on what it is. All these stars, massive groups of intelligence out in the galaxy. When you connect to that web, you connect to the mind, the creator, the one that invented the system. He is not the controller, but he's important, or we wouldn't be here today. Energy is flowing through this tree in two directions, and it makes a ladder in two directions. And in your body, it works in the same way. When you get to the height of human, all consciousness, all things that you see on the planet are working their way up to be human. Like this coaster, this suitcase, my cat, everything you see is consciousness, and it's being molded and being made malleable, and it's adapting and becoming stronger and moving into different forms until it reaches the form of human. Now, there is a really fundamental basic structure, and that's what I teach. But beyond that, it gets crazier and crazier. But I will teach you the fundamentals. And I don't know everything. I only know the fundamentals. When I connected to the web, you connect to the Father Force, your maker, back to where you came from, and you connect to the focus of the web. Like I mentioned in the last video, the web is all connected through alignments, these telephone lines. It was interesting because yesterday I was listening to some podcast somewhere that was talking about some native group that was believing that the force was shooting arrows. And that is a perfect analogy as well, because that's what it is. It's alignments, right? And the alignments in the sky, in this tree, are being mirrored. They're being focused on, and they're being brought into becoming. So as it's being drawn together, the pieces are being drawn together, everything is spiraling into greater and greater forms until it becomes human. And then at the human stage, you want to unify your body and connect back and end this cycle, and then move up to the next level, which is not in the mud as we are at the planet. So it's a big concept, and it's very detailed. But the main thing is that we are creators, just like that Father Force focusing. We bring things to us by focusing our minds on things. And of course, that's the beauty of being human. We're expanding the universe through doing that, because the universe only knows itself. So, and why is this happening? So that the creator the mother can be reunited with her child. And this is really interesting, because another time when I was in meditation, I was shown what this was, and we actually come from this really dark, carbony, thick smoke. And we have this life where we can use both forces to become more, which we want to do. We want to maximize in this life as much as we can, because this is our opportunity to be using these two forces to our greatest ability to build who we are. And really, it is, as Carl Jung said, we are moving towards massive individuation, where we eventually let go of the personality, and we move forward to a whole new stage of being, which it just gets more and more fascinating. But the whole thing about the Christmas tree, this is a perfect analogy. And the way a tree grows as well is the exact same way everything is flowing in the human body. And I know that sounds crazy, but this is true. There is, as the tree expands, it has growth rings. It creates growth rings. And as it expands, it doesn't start big and become small. It starts small and it grows big. And so too, we are growing our central column in the same way. And the more we grow that central column, the more intuitive we become, because it is all about, emotional mastery, because emotion is power. And being able to control this power is one of the things we are here to learn to do, to unify our bodies and then to control our power within. But there's more to it with this tree, and without getting too much into it, because I don't really go too much into this sort of third eye thing. But once you unify your body, the pressure blasts open your third eye as you unite back to the Father. Now, this is happening in greater and lesser forms. It depends how much energy you have or how you're utilizing your energy as to how you blast that door open with the energy going in the opposite direction, okay? Because usually the energy is coming down, and what you're doing is you're flapping the door in the other direction when you're drawing your energy up. And meditation draws the energy up. The more and more you focus, and actually I was surprised at how fast meditation actually works if you are dedicated. I don't even know where all that dedication came from within me to do that, but holy cow, it amasses over time, of course. And I think it was about a year before I had the massive transcendence. I was working at it every day. So that was the big thing. And I, as you know, I quit my corporate job and I went full on into meditation. I was, 14 hours a day in massive bliss, but it wasn't in bliss that I connected. It was an absolute pain and agony where my chest ripped open, felt like it was ripping open, and the heart wanted to go back to where it came from. That heart is a GPS, and it wants to go back to the mother force, and all that flow of energy moving up in me wants to connect to the father force, where it came from, all that light that's within. Now, there are many different types of light within you. Just imagine the light frequency range. When you look at a chart of a light frequency range, you will see all sorts of different frequencies of light, and the light that is holding it in between, because there's only a little fraction of light as we know it. The other is darkness. But within that darkness is a very, very, very fine resonance, and that is the mother, and she is the controller. And that's why focusing on love is the big amasser, because that force comes from her, that receptive force, and you're not going anywhere unless you focus on love in meditation. And let me tell you, that is like putting gasoline in the system, because she is the one that roots you and gives you all the power to blast open that third eye. She is the one that unites your body. She is the one who's doing everything. And why is she doing it? She wants her child to know her. She wants to reunite with her child. She wants her child to be cognizant of her, to join their consciousness, even though she is already inside of you and you are already inside of her. But it's a beautiful story of love, a mother's love, a father's ingenuity, and these two parents are taking care of us in so many ways. So here we experience earth. This is kind of like being in the manger, where we have all the sustenances we need on earth to grow our bodies, unite our minds, and connect back. And then we drop the whole earthly game off and we move into the next level of development. Now, development can go on for infinity, because this is infinity. So there's no mad rush. I was in a super mad rush because I was angry and I wanted to know what the heck is going on, because I had so much confusion in my life. Who am I? What am I doing here? I always felt like I didn't belong. I couldn't figure. I mean, I did many things fabulous, very well, and people wanted me to, work with them on all sorts of projects and do things, but I really felt all out of sorts. And so, yeah, it was kind of my thing to go and do this. And boy, I've got to tell you, the one thing I do well in life, or did really well, was focus. And focus in meditation, it's kind of like anything. It's just, like learning to dance. You got to learn the steps and you got to keep doing the steps. And if you stop doing the steps, you kind of can't quite remember them. Then they all slip away. So you kind of have to stay on board with the whole meditation, doing it regularly. As I mentioned in previous videos, I did it 3 times a day. Then I unified those 3 times into 1 time per day. And that's when I quit the job. And I went out into the Mexican desert to, I didn't even want to come back, but as fate would have it, you know, children, they bring you back. So getting back to the tree, there are a lot of components about the tree. The tree is a fantastic analogy to what is going on in the body, in the cosmos. It is simultaneous. The thing that kind of throws us off is because when we're looking outward, we see this physical earth thing. But when we get through this, you will understand how they are completely the same, and we are one in infinity planets, and planets have come and gone, and there are infinity planets out there, and beings in all shapes and sizes that are morphing into bigger things and lesser things, and but we're all really on the same journey, is to have that absolute unity within, and then we have greater and greater forms of unity that we go into as well as we build ourselves. So this spiraling, these spiraling lights up here, this is the pathway. It is the pathway to the other side of the galaxy, the other side of the universe, which is through the black hole, and then on the other side you radiate in light. And that's the same within us, where we have light that comes within us, but we also radiate light outwards as well. So understanding the flow of light and how it really works, everything is light. Everything is a different form of light that is trying to develop itself and become, you know, have more resonance, grow itself, become brighter consciousness, greater consciousness. That is what it's all about. And the ladder is a spiraling ladder, and inside of you, the ladder, when it united in me, it actually looked just like a ladder, where you can go back to the Kundalini video and look at it. But it is just like a ladder, and that has to do with the way it spirals. And that's where I think some people kind of get lost. The way it spirals, yes, it's all through alignments, but it really depends on what angle you're looking at it from. And but it does form within that spiral a perfect ladder going back to where the light originally came from, which is the light on the other side of the universe before the Father entered the body of the Mother. So I think I'll leave it at that today. There's a lot to be said actually about the tree, because every part of this tree is spiraling in the same way. Each branch spirals in the same way as it grows. So it's growing all in the same way that the great tree is growing. And all we have to do is open up any part of the tree and look at the rings that are growing. Bigger rings at the core, lesser rings on the branches, and even lesser on the tiny branches that are on the branches, but it's all expanding in the same way, and it's all flowing back to the same place from where it all came from. And like I said, it's moving in 2 directions, inverted down and then regular up. It's a 2-way system. And when you hit enlightenment, you will know it like that. If you're looking for absolute truth. If you're looking for something else, you'll be given that something else. For me, it was absolute truth, because I was just confused. This world was confusing. Everything was emotional. Nothing was logical. And that really, you know, drove me crazy. But of course, you know, 5 planets in Gemini, that would probably drive anyone crazy who had that. So understanding the system is knowing really a very logical sequence. And actually the logical sequence, as we get into it, there is a way of understanding how to heal yourself within it once you understand these archetypes. And I've talked about them before, but we'll talk about them in a really linear fashion as we get going. I was just putting up the tree today and I really wanted to share this with you. I thought, oh, now's the great time before I put anything else on the tree, because right now it's just the dark tree and it's the lights. And again, the dark tree represents the force of the mother, because it's her energy that is causing the light to spiral in this particular formation. It's not like the creator goes, oh, I'm going to spiral in this exact way. It's no, the father force enters, and it is the combining of the two energies between them that cause this circular motion, this kind of centrifugal motion, these alignments. All these stars are making alignments to each other, and because they're moving so fast, it looks like a spiral. But if we slowed it all down, it is stars dropping down into the body of the mother through very specific alignments. And the alignments create hexagrams. Talk about that at a later date because it's fascinating. But the whole point of all of this is that within it is a system to be able to heal, balance, and energize the body so that we can pressurize all our energy towards the center, which meditation does. But if you're sick, it's pretty hard to meditate, isn't it? So we want to get everything into alignment. We want to pressurize it to the center. And then when it's pressurized to the center, it goes in two directions. And the grounding direction, it will go down. It'll root below the groin. So it's about 6 inches below the groin, 4 to 6 inches below the groin. And you'll see the blood red cube. And when the cube appears, the sound comes as the force comes out of the cube. The sound of a huge rattler fills the room, and I'll tell you, it's deafening. And then the whole process begins. And you can't break out of meditation at that point. You have to stay focused so that she can do her work and unite your body. She gets up to here, this is her last chakra, is the heart chakra, moves up to the pituitary gland. And if the force is still super strong, if you still have the strength there after the heart is open, still have the strength, then you bypass her and you go to the father's realm. And that's when you kick open that pineal gland, that swinging door, which isn't really swinging, but it's going back in the opposite direction, and you loop back to the father. And it's like pure physics. Once you connect to the father, that force can be revisited. Okay, so, and the same with the mother. So now you have the mother and the father tethered at both poles of your being. And the Kundalini does many things, and I'll save that for the next video. I'll let you go. But there you have it. There's some news about how the Christmas tree relates to Christmas. Actually, Christmas is itself signifies the end of one cycle and the beginning of another one. So like the end of one growth ring and the beginning of another one. So we have grown in that year. And this growth cycle that we celebrate at Christmas time is happening in many small, tiny ways, and in many huge, great ways. You know, when you think about the yugas, or when you think about the amount of years within the great cycles, but it's still always the same cycle. It's the same but bigger, the same but smaller. It is the cycle. So it is, and this is why I call my upcoming book, holy cow, I hope I finish that thing, The Goddess and Her Sacred Circle, because the circle is inside of you everywhere, in every cell, in every part of your being, beyond the cell, the God particles. It is always this one circle. And so the universe is mimicking itself everywhere, as through the focus. It's focusing on having more of itself, and it's bringing everything into greater and greater consciousness. Okay, I'll let you go. Thanks for staying. And I hope to see you soon. Hey, check out my products, because I made those things for you. I think some of you have checked out them in previous videos a long time ago, and I've got a couple new things. So anyways, hope to hear from you. If you have any comments or any questions about this, please drop them below so that I can answer them. And I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.